This is Gina, my model. We have a great opportunity here, and that's a Gina tried to cut her hair herself. So we've got two different lengths. We've got a shorter length here on the right side, and we've got a longer length here on the left side, which I happen to love. So we're going to work with this. Also, we're going to use the fine-tooth carving comb. And the fine-tooth carving comb is our first carving comb. It's about in the third or fourth generation right now. I needed something to add more dimension and another tool to be creative within creating shapes and textures within a head shape. So I created the Paul Mitchell carving comb, and I created it to be used with your shears, with your scissors in your hand at the same time. My precision with my scissors and my free form with my carving comb, which has this is one tool that has changed my career, changed my shapes, and added a whole new entity to my, I guess, my hair cutting. So we have Gina here. We're going to work with what she has. Of course, like every woman, she doesn't want much of her length taking off. So I'm going to use a combination of shears. I would say I'm going to use a combination of blunt edges and textured edges to create this shape that she has. She has fine, I guess, a fine texture hair. We're going to start at the occipital bone. Use her ear as a little bit of as a clip. I'm going to start out with the shears, okay, using a blunt edge, right? I'm going to pivot off that carving comb using the head shape. Okay, I'm going to use a combination of shears, then I'm going to come in, use the carving comb, which is the straight side. Continue that section along the head shape. We're going to pick it up, follow that section, over direct slightly toward the back. Going to use your shears again. Remember, a combination of blunt and textured edges. Also, if you're cutting blunt and you get to a point where you want a little bit of texture in the ends, that same section you can pick up and you can also texturize it at the same time. You have more spontaneity when you're creating your shapes because the tools are in your hand at the same time. This technique was created because I knew if I didn't have the carving comb or if I didn't have the razor in my hand, I would never have picked it up to use it. Okay, I'm going to continue the opposite back at the occipital bone. Slight bit of a diagonal section, always using the head shape as a guide in your previous section. Okay, taking a corresponding section. Okay, straight up from the head shape, using that as a guide. Okay, always check when you first start that second, the right side. I'm going to pick it up again. Always come from that root area. The hair glides right through the hair. I've got a slight bit of foaming pomade on her hair because she was very staticky. Continue. Next section. Okay, I'm coming down. Using my shears, every other section I'll use shears and then I'll use the carving comb. What I like to do is a lot of times people will cut their perimeter first and then come back in and texturize it. I like to leave the perimeter. I like to start in the interior shape first and then come back in and soften it up. I'm over-directing slightly when I get toward the ear because she has less hair there. As you can see the shape happening. I see a little bit of weight right at the occipital bone, just slightly. When you start with the carving comb, start using it very lightly and always hold it on an angle. This is the heavy side and we want to keep that heavy. So we're going to continue up the head shape. I'm using the back as a guide. Over direct back. Again, I still have my scissors in my hand. Even if you have to bend your client's head a little bit to get the angle, do so. Okay, I'm going to continue right to the front. High elevation. High elevation is so we can leave some of her length. Diagonal sections toward her face. Remember, your sections are the direction to which you're going to carve. Okay, even if you have to pick it up a couple times to make sure it's even. And you're following along the guide. Now that edge is blunt. Okay, that edge is blunt. If you want to just soften that edge up, even as you go along, you can pick it up and just texturize the ends a little bit. I wanted to keep it shaggy. I'm very into softer, sexy hair these days. Instead of hair that's so blunt, I like lots of movement. Okay, I like to use a brush just to move the shape around a lot. She has some pretty color in her hair. And the carbon comb actually opens that up. If you can't find your guide, stop and go back and find it. Remember, the thickness of your sections is determined by how thick the hair is. Gorgeous, to die for, you are. I just love the feeling that you get from the carving comb, especially coming from the school of blunt precision looks. It's still precision, but it's got a much softer, sexier feel to it when you come with the razor. Your angles are much more fluid. You have much more fluidity with the carving comb. Okay, down to the last section. Notice I didn't touch her perimeter at all. Because I want that. I want that sexy, soft, in her face feeling. I don't know, I keep thinking I have to do more, but it looks good. Well, when I have a pretty girl in a chair, I kind of take a lot longer than I usually do. I love the asymmetrical feeling we have. I'm just gonna over-direct it slightly, just to take a look at her ends a little bit. Okay. Give it a shake, just shake it a little bit, right there. Hard, 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 hard. Atta girl. To just maybe take a little bit of texture, I'm gonna take out my TDS twist, and I'm just going to texturize it about halfway down the shaft. The TDS twist takes out half the amount of hair that the channel carve does. And this will just crunch it up a little bit. I'm loving this shape because it's kind of looking at kind of rock and roll. I'm going to change to my wide tooth because I want a softer feel to it. Again, halfway down the shaft, using the channel carve. Just continue. Notice I'm leaving the front a little bit heavier. I'm just texturizing from about the ear back. Just using the tips.